Hi, in today's video I'm going to be exploring the in-depth politicals, political landscape and military aspects of the Oreland Conflict. The Oreland Conflict was a war fought primarily between the Zatrian Republic and the Belascan Empire through 1833 to 1842. The war involved not only these two, but as well as many Belascan vassal states as well as Zatrian allies. Overall, the war would result in over 2.5 million casualties, most of which on the Belascan side. The war would lead to the rise of the Belascan Empire, as well as the beginning of the William Eric era in Zatria. To truly understand this war, we need to go back to the Zatrian Revolution, which was fought between 1793 and 1800. The Zatrian Revolution began when some Zatrian stickmen rebelled against their rulers, the Belascan stickmen, which of course they weren't actually stickmen, but I'm just saying stickmen because I don't know what else to say. So, yes, the Belascan flag is simply just a crown with a red background on it. This battle was important for two reasons. Well, actually, a few more than two, but mainly two. See, it was the first battle of the Zatrian Revolution, which would basically lead to every other conflict in, well, the history. Now, it also set up the extremely well documented and extremely iconic feud between Josh McKiller and Henry Williams. You see, William was born originally in Maupin, Alaska, which was right here, as it was originally part of the Belascan Confederation or the Belascan Union. But when he was 3, he moved to Zatria to a parent's job. He would quickly convert to Zatrian Orism and adopt the Zatrian culture, completely abandoning Belascan culture, and at 13 would be kicked out of his house by his parents for these decisions. This would lead to William developing a deep disdain for Belascan culture as well as the nation of Alaska itself. This would also lead to him joining the Zatrian militia amongst the war coming. See, William was a major player in the Zatrian Revolution. In fact, many people argue he was the only reason they won. See, William had expert battle tactics, including those at the Battle of Redwood. You see, William and his forces were largely outnumbered by the number of Belascan forces. This would almost certainly lead to a defeat that would lead to almost every rebel leader being captured and executed, which would most certainly end the rebellion and cause Alaska to win. This was probably one of the most high-stake battles of the war, and it looked like Zatria was losing. But William quickly ordered his less fed, less trained, and more tired men to the center of the line, quickly organizing the army. So, when Belascan forces attacked, they went for the center, attacking in the feared Belascan arrow position. Alaska would smash into the Zatrian forces, but since the less trained and less skilled men were in the middle, they quickly fell in, while the more trained and more well-fed men were on the sides. This quickly led to them being surrounded, as well as additional cavalry and reinforcements coming in. This led to most of the Belascan force being captured and over 80 of them killed. This battle, as well as many others, such as Miller Hill, Topanga, the Battle of Zatria, the Odin campaign, and the Feld Nome campaign, would lead William to almost certainly being elected as king following into the war. But that was not it. See, the king was actually made McKiller, who was mentioned earlier. McKiller was a leader of the rebellion before, but he was never really responsible for any of the major victories. In fact, he was responsible for William being accused. He was responsible for Zatria losing the Battle of Topanga, which William was framed for being the person who lost it. Eventually, William would stage a coup and overthrow McKiller, causing the map we see now. You see, there is this extremely rich region in the middle of Oreland called Craw. You see, Craw was a Belascan region, But William demanded access to it, and since the king of Alaska at the time wanted to maintain mostly peaceful relations with Zatria, as Zatria at this point was the Oreland powerhouse, he signed the Kara Gold Act, in which would allow Zatrian soldiers and citizens to come in and mine gold from the Canadian region. The Alaskan king faced a lot of backlash for this, so much in fact that he was threatened with being overthrown. So he refused. So he rebutted the deal. Now, here's the thing. William had ordered his men that if, under any circumstance, that Belasco tried to kick them out of the land, that they were to immediately attack Alaskan troops to resist. So, with the first shots fired, the Oreland Conflict had begun. Zatria almost immediately began seizing land and villages and gold mines from Alaskan troops, as well as considering the fact that Alaska had pulled out the deal a month prior and they are just now getting trying to pull them out. A large Zatrian force was ready to invade Kara at the instant, taking over most of the Zatrian Alaskan border in Kara. To the north, William would quickly launch a failed invasion into Nome during the Noman campaign. This failed campaign in June of 1833 would quickly fall apart and lead to many Zatrian deaths, though it would lead as well to Noman insurrections beginning, though we will not go into that. We will probably go into that in a more in-depth video. So yeah. Once again in the north, Zatria launched another invasion in the Alaskan shoestring. I don't really know what this is called, but it's something. They quickly began sieging cities. The Battle of Lakemaster, the Battle of Elbaton, the Battle of Lonor, and the Battle of Palm, all were Zatrian victories. And quickly, Zatria had reached the ocean on the other side of Alaska, though not really that hard to do so, as this northern part of Alaska was heavily unfortified. Zatrian forces would continue to push into Kra, leaving devastation and mining the gold and coal and other resources in their way. Zatrian forces would quickly try to make their way to the middle of the region, in which they knew they could see uncountable profits, as there was a lot of gold in the center of the region. They finally broke through the Kra Alaskan border and entered Named, which was another region in Alaska. At this point, the war had gone farther than just Kra. It had gone up north, it had gone into Named, and it was about to spread to the Potrian and Mitrian Isles. William would quickly launch an invasion of the Potrian Isles in 1835. This was in order to try and get the Potri settlers there to join their side and rise up against their Alaskan rulers. This ended up being successful, and large Potri rebellions would begin. In one battle, Fort Barbacota would see 12 Potrian soldiers hold off over 300 Alaskan soldiers for over 8 hours before having to surrender. Fort Barbacota would go on to later be the capital of Potria. Zatria would do the exact same thing in Mitria, invading with the hope of inciting rebellion. Though he didn't really have to incite much rebellion in South Mitria, which had been already in open rebellion against Alaska for years. In fact, this is all the territory they had took at this point. Most of South Potria was already under rebel control, so with the help of the Zatrians, it wasn't long before, all of it was under rebel control, and that South Mitria had basically gained its independence. And in 1835, would officially declare independence from Alaska and officially declare a state of allyship with Zatria. Up in Potria, William had continued his invasion, as he had launched invasion of the smaller Potrian Islands rather than just the main. That's a pretty small thing, but I thought I'd just bring that up. Back in Kra, Zatria would continue to further invade and make a lot of progress, until eventually in 1837, when Kra was officially fully captured, along with Named, in which almost immediately after overthrowing the Alaskan government, Zatria immediately established Potria as a Zatrian colony, betraying the nation effectively, though quickly Zatria or quickly Potria would declare war against Zatria stupidly, as it was obvious that Velasca and its allies were not going to win this. So, should have probably just gone with it or tried to make a peace deal, but no, they declared war. And just as you probably expected, in 1839, Potria was fully annexed. Zatria would continue his invasion of Mitria and would largely take over the northern Alaskan colonies, such as the Federal Republic of Mitria, or the Coastal Republic of Mitria, and the Federal Republic of Mitria up here. All of a sudden, Oreland was starting to look a little bit blue. In 1841, following the reveal to South Mitria that Zatria was also planning to subjugate them, they withdrew from the war and cut all ties with Zatria and started trading and funding Velasquez's war effort. But despite the aid from South Mitria, there was really nothing Velasquez could do at this point. The Oreland conflict was over, and Zatria had won.